Welcome back to Harmonies and Hindsights. Today is Monday.
April 1st.
April 1st. It's the first of the month. Do you know that? That's awkward. So it's April 1st. Welcome back. I want to hate you. To Harmonies and Hindsights. My very first episode was with Leanne, and she's back because I felt like 30 minutes wasn't enough.
No.
It just wasn't.
Oh my God, it's never enough. Not with us.
We have so much to talk about. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. Leanne's back, and today we have a riveting conversation about one topic because, ironically, it's kind of just been a topic that we've both commented on in music and also just in our lives. And I think it's something we both identify with. Weirdly, the irony of this video is that this is a podcast for the internet. Yeah. And I make videos and you make videos. We both make videos on the internet.
Yeah, and we need technology to make our music.
By the title of this video, I'm sure you can tell what is about to go down. Leanne just put out a song last week called iPad Baby. I want to ask Leanne a little bit about what that song's about. Lovely. It's really obvious when you listen to it, but I feel like there's some things in there personally for her that maybe I don't understand, and so I want to hear it. And then last year I released a song called Hollywood Reviews, which is sort of a spin on iPad Baby, but in a different way of
different font.
It's us in different fonts.
Same intention. Yeah. Same thing that we're complaining about.
Exactly. So we're gonna dive into that. I want to start with iPad Baby because it's a fresh song. Please go listen to it. I'll link it down below. She goes by Leanne in her artist name. So iPad Baby, give us what is it about? Why did you write it?
I wrote it over a year ago, I believe, or maybe it was a little less than a year ago, in the summer of 2023. I was just, having a bad day, kind of irritable, probably PMSing. I had an argument with my mom or something about probably something trivial, but then the argument ended so fast because she needed my help with something. Technology wise, because she's a teacher. She's an ESL teacher. And ever since COVID, so much has gone online, and she's older, so she doesn't know how to do a lot of tech stuff.
And to preface, Leanne is really good with technology. And would you agree that maybe you're the one in the family who keeps up with all of that, and you
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm the one that everyone goes to for that kind of stuff. Always have been since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I used to teach my mom. I literally had Leanne's computer lessons, a whole folder.
Yes.
And I would write out tests for my mom.
And for your grandpa as well.
My grandpa as well. I would go over to his house and I would rearrange all of the icons on his screen so they're more user friendly. So he wanted to write a memoir, which he started but never finished, unfortunately. When he was starting to write it, he wrote up to age 5, which is nothing out of the 102 years he lived.
He lived 102 years.
Yes. And he wrote until age 5, and as he was writing that, I had helped him with everything. I taught him how to open Microsoft Word, to type, to print. He actually learned very, very quickly at he was 95 when he had started. And he was doing a lot by himself, but I had put click here instead of writing Microsoft Word. Taught my grandpa a lot, taught my mom a lot. It was fulfilling in some sort of way, but at the same time, a blue light screen, and you kind of feel like it's ruining your eyes and your face.
Absolutely.
And it just feels at the same time shallow. Do you know what I'm saying?
I want to talk about that specifically. We have to come back to the shallowness of what it feels like, but continue.
And so I kind of felt like I'm very impatient when it comes to short-term projects. Long-term things, I'll wait 10 years. I could wait 10 years as long as it means I'll get there. But a short-term thing, I have to do this homework assignment, no. It's very difficult for me. So these tiny things here and there, they're a bit hard for me. So I think that day I was just especially irritable, and then our argument ended so fast though because she needed my help to put up some stuff coursework on her class site. And I did it, but I thought it was funny, oh my God, it's so funny. We were arguing, and now the argument's over because you need some help with technology, and I'm going to do it for you because you need it. I mean, or else your class is going to suffer. It's kind of a funny and stupid argument, but that's what inspired the song. I literally sat down. I was like, I need to calm myself down, to write something to express how I'm feeling. And then I showed it to her that night. I'm like, you want to hear the song? Because we'd made up. I was like, listen to the song I wrote.
The song about.
And I'm like, don't take it personally. It's loosely based off of our argument today.
It's a really well written song. You can tell like you obviously love your mom, but from the song you can get the frustration.
Yes, the frustration was mainly based on the fact that technology, I feel like it's such a drag. Like, I don't like it. I don't like to have to do more than I need to, and I already need to do so much. Like, we know because of the whole career thing, like music now being completely
all consuming
yes. Via technology.
iPad Baby is a really intriguing title because on the surface I'm like, that's very modern, very like cool girl title in the best way. Is iPad Baby directly correlated to like you're like the child of technology, or does it not go that deep? Because that's what I get from it.
Actually, yeah,
I'm a child of technology.
Now that you say it, absolutely, yeah. Because I feel like we did have a period of time when we were kids, right, or a lot of Gen Z, when we didn't have iPads.
We're early
yet.
Gen Z.
Exactly.
Not that matters.
Because Gen Z apparently goes until 2012.
Yeah, like the internet existed, but like the up of the iPhone was
that was the big
when we
thing.
were like really young.
Yeah.
So.
And the iPad came in like what, 20? I forgot what it was. 2010 or something. We were like 9.
No, 9. Yeah.
I don't remember actually.
On the bright side, we weren't iPad kids, so that's good.
Because you see all those things, and I'm like, I can't relate.
I don't relate to that.
They say like, oh, the German kids, like, can I play with your iPad?
Like, don't give your kid an iPad.
Yeah. And I feel like we could have been. We were almost,
on
but we were earlier than that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I mean, I know people who are younger than me who were like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we had a bit of time before we had iPads. So once we had iPads, we kind of maybe subconsciously knew that, oh, real life is where the joy comes from. Because we knew what real life was without iPad, iPhone, that whole big boom. Absolutely. So like when they're out at their cousin's house or with their older siblings, they're asking, can I use your phone? Because it's like, you know, they're born into that. Yeah. They don't know life otherwise. So it doesn't like, it's something that they're inclined to do. Whereas I mean, personally, I never did that. Did you?
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm glad we still had childhoods where Lan and I go very, very, very far back into, we played Barbie dolls together for Christmas. I would ask for real tangible toys and things that would make me happy. So I do feel like on the bright side, we suffer now, but I feel maybe worse for people after us because I still feel like I had a really good, like grounded childhood.
Me too.
I think.
Me too. I agree. And I think I have an analogy, and it's like hamsters. And
oh wait, you said this somewhere.
Yeah. I definitely did, because I think it makes sense. Not really, but
it does.
It doesn't match exactly. It's like millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha is the one below us. Yeah. And like they're, I guess, 2012 and later, which is like every major form of technology has been developed by then. Yeah. Except for like, you know, the new, what's it called?
I don't know. It's like the virtual reality. No.
Yeah.
Apple's virtual
Vision
reality.
Pro.
The Vision Pro.
Yeah. So except for like that, right? But
like,
the MacBook was out, iPad was out, iPhone was out. Yeah. They're born into it like completely. Like they don't know life without it. Like of course it depends on when their parents will let them get it, but like it's like their parents have the stuff.
And you will have it.
Yeah. You will have it.
It's incoming doom.
Yeah. And a lot of them have it immediately.
Yes. It's coming for you. No
exactly.
What.
But I feel like for them, it's not as bad because they don't know life without it.
Yes. We're going to talk about that.
And it's like a hamster born into a cage versus one born outside and put into a cage. And that's what we are. Yeah, that's my analogy. Do you like that?
That's really good. A verse. We did this in our last episode because she writes really great lyrics. So I just want to talk to her about. I'm just going to read it and tell
me. What
does
touche mean? No, I always use touche as like right back at you.
That's right. Okay. No, that's totally right. I'm going to read this to you. Well, think of it as a game. Okay. I'm going to read this to you and tell me one thing that comes to mind about writing it, okay? This is the chorus. I think this is the chorus. Because you need me more than I need you. It's been this way since I was 18. And I just wish it was the opposite, or that you wanted to play with me like I did as a kid, but you don't. You just need my help with the internet. I'm the only one who can solve your problems. When you realize that you need me, you just call up your iPad baby.
So that was, again, loosely inspired by me and my parents. And I'm very melodramatic in this song. I think it's a big exaggeration, but I think
it works though.
It works. I think it works, and I think it can also be applied to different kinds of relationships. Fantasize about the times when like we needed our parents a lot all the time, and when we wanted to play with them, you know? And I feel like I had that, and then it got taken away from me too early because of technology and the iPad now is just playing games alone.
That's so true.
And I feel like I missed out on that and I needed more of that.
Yeah.
So I included that, and now it's also tied into the fact that they need me for all this tech stuff.
She spends, when you listen to it, she spends like pretty much 3/4 of the song talking about your life with technology growing up with your parents. Then the end of the song kind of takes a turn into like a modern comment, I think.
I agree,
I don't even need lyrics for this. You say, things that aren't important take precedence. If it isn't monetized, a win's not a win. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
I was literally trying to figure out how to end the song, and I always like to end things in a repetitive manner. I love that. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to make that my signature, because I like just take whatever I like want to be like the main takeaway from the song and then just repeat it like 10 times.
That's smart though, because it's like, oh, you didn't get what I was saying? Well, let me tell you, word for word,
spell it out for you.
Say.
Yeah. If it isn't important, wait, what is it?
Things that aren't
important. So things that aren't important take precedence. So that to me is like all the superficial shallowness that I described that's happening on technology. View count, listener count. Like if it isn't important, that schnitzel, like that's not what fulfills you in the end. And it kind of just drives you crazy.
Absolutely.
But it takes precedence
somehow,
especially because of technology, because you compare. It's so easy to compare yourself. Like think about what, 30, 40 years ago, how are you going to compare to like the person next door? Like you don't know how many listens they're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like the only way you could compare is if like, oh yeah, you're the 2 biggest pop stars and it's literally listed right there.
I think it says a lot too, like about listeners. I think there's a lot of big artists who deserve their platforms, of course, and they have millions of listeners for good reason. And then what's crazy about trying to be upcoming in this industry now, especially because I think fame is kind of like convoluted now. It's like you have big celebrities, right? But now it feels like, especially with TikTok, is a whole other thing to talk about, but
influencer culture,
too. Everyone is reachable now. It's weird, but I find it's a little depressing if it doesn't matter. Like if you have 2,000 monthly listeners, or even people with like 30,000 monthly listeners, people are like, oh, they're really small, so it's probably not that good, because society is conditioning you to think if you're not getting millions of streams, you're not really worth listening to. Exactly. And I think you find the best music, I think, with smaller people who are like really grinding for it.
I especially came to that realization when we were in the car once driving, I don't know where, from some nature spot, right? And we were listening to Isaac Opatz.
He keeps coming up.
How do you pronounce his last name?
He keeps coming up in every
I brought him up.
No, for real.
But we were listening to him and I was like...
We always listen to it because I put it on all the time. He's a great example.
I love to listen to him.
Just like rooted, grounded, such good music, and you wonder why that doesn't just take over.
Exactly.
It's inspiring.
And you're like, this is the exact kind of sound
that people need.
That like should be getting millions of listens. But at the same time, it's like, why is my mind going there? That I think that like his talent should necessarily equate to like millions of listeners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
No, exactly. I've been wanting to talk about this. This ties into what you said earlier about shallowness. When I listen to his music or anybody else's, I want to become somebody who doesn't care about the internet. I just make music because I love music. But it's so horrendous that I've only ever grown up or been told that to be successful in this industry, you need to be online. Here's the thing, what's shallow about it too. It doesn't feel shallow to me because I love making these videos. I love editing videos. Yeah. You enjoy being an actress and going after roles like that and having to do self-tapes where like you're constantly looking at yourself. But it does feel that way to me, but I hate that it comes off that way sometimes. Somehow I feel like he's found like a niche of life. I think you can tell from his music. I mean, he has a song called Married with Kids that's just about the knack of advertising and how he doesn't enjoy it, which totally makes sense. So I wish I could become somebody who is more removed from the internet, but then I don't know how I'm going to do this otherwise.
Exactly.
And he does well for himself on music. So I don't know what the balance, because I don't want to come off as shallow, but what sucks is I do like the internet sometimes.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is. I don't know.
No, there's definitely some great benefits. And I feel like now more than ever, definitely more than ever, anybody could make it because of the internet. And that's such a great thing. But it comes at a cost.
It does come at a cost.
A cost of, being an artist and then feeling like if you haven't posted anything today, you're kind of falling behind.
Yeah.
And it's not a fun feeling, and it affects like your motivation to do anything and creativity. I mean, if you let it affect you.
And on the bright side of that too, being an independent artist is better than ever, people say. I mean, you get signed to a major label, right? You're at the bottom of the food chain of who else is priority, right? Who takes precedence, right? So if you're at the bottom of the food chain, they're just telling you, get hot on TikTok. And then maybe we'll pour some marketing into you. So nowadays, it's kind of like, at least we can enjoy when we put out this kind of music, and we enjoy making these videos because I think we're creative people.
Yeah.
Where there's no pressure to like there is pressure to blow up on TikTok, but that's not like your lifeline. Exactly. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
there's our own pressure to feel like that's how we're gonna make it. So I'm praying that there's maybe a turnaround of events, that there's just a different way. Because imagine just making all this music and then you don't have to post about it. Maybe that will never exist.
Then I could, delete all my apps.
I agree.
I just dream about that because I feel like I said, it's a double-edged sword. So I get to do all this, right? I have the opportunity to post and share, and that's literally completely positive.
Yeah.
Unless people are being mean, but like
the internet.
But like I said, it's just I don't know. I feel like I'm rotting.
No,
and you get sucked into things too, and I don't like my screen time.
I don't either. It's like 8 hours. That's my whole day.
I know.
Maybe more. I don't
Mine
know.
was once 13. Remember when I showed you in Ava? It was around the time a song was coming out. So you see what I mean? Like, kind of feels like my life is leaving me. Yes.
And okay, we both relate to this because we both grew up here in LA. So it feels like, oh, you have a ton to do all the time, right? But I love my life, and I wouldn't redo anything. But I'm like, wow, I wonder what it would have been to wake up and the first thing you don't reach for is your phone. You go outside and you like go in nature. What is that like? This is hard to explain. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe that's a choice too. I'm like, I could get off my phone. I could set a boundary of you're only going to use your phone to promote stuff, and you don't even care about the comments. Yeah. You don't care about any of that. Exactly. But I do, because we've grown up in a generation that is conditioned to believe that life happens online, you know?
And you like want to know what people think, and which
we shouldn't care. But we do.
Yeah.
Why do we do?
It's almost like, well, actually, because that's something they stress a lot, like you're selling yourself. Yeah. If you're selling like a product, which I know we're not products, but it's kind of the same vibes. Like you need to know what the reaction to it is, so you can improve or change. Like, I mean, I sound pretty bad right now. Change because someone said that you suck. No, don't do that. No. Someone told me I suck. I haven't changed.
No, you don't.
But like, it's a brand. You're selling yourself. Hollywood reviews.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to say was, this is such a good center around this, because I think it's your fear, it's my fear, maybe a lot of other people's fear too. I just feel like I have to find a balance with all of this, because deep down, I know that life goes so much deeper than this. There's like so much. I imagine what it's like to just go do something out in the world. My biggest fear with all of this is ever coming off shallow. Like, I spend all day just making TikToks because it's the line between putting yourself on the internet and hoping that it comes off like you're just a normal person, because we are just normal people, and it also coming off as like, wow, she spends a lot of time on the internet. Maybe we just need to go on a road trip or something.
Right? No, because that's what you said. Like,
just like, I don't know.
You start to feel guilty too, because it's like, oh, I need to have more self-control. Like, I just need to stop. I just need to not look at my phone in the morning. Like, that's really hard. And I think that tech companies specifically make it that way.
Yes.
And make it super addictive. We're missing out on some precious time, or you're thinking, oh, what if I had posted that one day and then everything had been different?
Yeah.
And it's like everything counts, and it's a lot of pressure. Every time I go on social media and I see all of the amazing artists doing stuff, it's like, then why should I? Like, why would it be me? Like, why am I even trying to kind of have some sort of luck? Because there's all of these people, they're trying so hard, and they're not getting lucky, and I feel like it just makes me feel hopeless.
The times that I do just like take a break from it for a few days, again, we've just grown up in it, so you're conditioned to believe, okay, but now you're missing everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, what am I missing? But if I take a few days to just not post anything, I actually write better music. I'm like, okay, well, I just took a week off of social media and now people think I'm dead. That was iPad. So that was a whole tangent about iPad Baby.
Yeah.
A spin on iPad Baby. Last year, I released a song called Hollywood Reviews. Sort of a talk about technology, more about social media, and kind of what I said. We've been talking this whole thing about the shallowness, about how it feels to portray yourself online and how much I hate that. So it was about a day where I was just kind of like you. I was like laying in bed. I woke up and I was on TikTok for like 4 hours.
Yeah, you get frustrated.
And I'm like, I could have showered, ate breakfast, took a walk around the block and done XYZ instead of doing what I just did.
I know.
And since then, I've actually set a really good boundary about not going on TikTok in the morning because of that song. Because I was like, if I have to write a song about it, it's a problem. I called it Hollywood Reviews because it seems like TikTok and YouTube or whatever is so focused on the next biggest thing, people you could care less about online, what they're doing. It's never a knack to these people's lives because we all choose a life, and I think every person is like should be happy.
Different
in their own
strokes
life.
For different folks.
Different strokes for different folks. I've just realized, wow, my life is really just I'm not gonna become a better, grounded, more knowledgeable person spending time on this app. And here's the thing, that might get a hot take from some people because I also learn everything about the world happening on TikTok. So that's, again, it's a double-edged sword. But I don't feel like I'm getting smarter at all.
No.
I don't think I'm writing better music.
No, because it's nothing that like, they're not asking you questions.
No.
They're not like making you think deeply. It's just a bunch of information thrown at you, which can be good and can make you very knowledgeable. But like you say, you don't feel like you're learning.
No, exactly. And so I kind of wrote the song about that. Tell them you're changing. They'll get what that means, I'm sure. There's no turning tomorrow if turning your pages feels more like staying where you start. Because it does still feel like that. It's like you put all this energy into putting yourself online. This is a whole other, what if the internet's just gone?
Right? No, I think about that.
I mean, thank God, but also, what do we do?
I think about that all the time. A double-edged sword, good and bad. It would. Honestly, probably mostly bad because we can't function now without it.
I know,
but there would be a
scary?
glimmer of goodness coming from that.
Yes. I have I just don't identify with it so hard that when I think about people who don't rely on the internet, I want to interview you because I'm like, what can you tell me what your day to day is? Because for me, I'm checking my phone every 2 seconds. I haven't had the will to combat that yet. So my fix has just been listening to a lot of music from the 70s or a lot of Bob Dylan.
Wow, while you're washing your face.
Yes, because it feels like people who have just lived life, people who have lived a life that exists outside of this.
It feels more
grounded, and
there's more substance.
Yes, and that inspires me more than the internet ever will.
Yeah, for a musician listening to music, that's like food.
Kind of on the depression part of it, the chorus is like, when's the last time you felt like moving? I know you don't recall a time when you didn't turn on the right side you lay and wonder where your place is. Nothing new, wasted on Hollywood reviews. Too bad for you. Turn over. It's morning time again.
I feel like you have no purpose because you're seeing all these people online that seem to have their purpose figured out, which isn't necessarily true. And then you just feel like SHIT.
Absolutely. You know what else is dopamine?
What?
We grew up here, right? So not until I was this year, really, I didn't think too much about it. The times where you're traveling or I'm driving to Vegas and you kind of go through Bakersfield and stuff, there's zero dopamine stimulation. It's just desert. And there's something beautiful about that because I was driving through Santa Monica the other day and the amount of it didn't used to faze me. But now that I feel like I've seen more of life, I go through more nature parts of life. And I don't consider myself super nature oriented, but it's nice to be in a car and you see nothing that stimulates your brain except for nature. And it's like you're driving through Hollywood and everywhere you turn, call here for this advertisement. And all I think about is, wow, I wonder how much they paid for that advertisement. I don't know.
If it isn't monetized, a win's not a win.
If it isn't monetized, a win's not a win.
I know what you're talking about.
It just feels good to drive somewhere.
Yeah. I've had some of my best conversations just driving nonstop, and I haven't really looked at my phone at all. In my room, and I get into a really good conversation with someone, I haven't looked at my phone in 2 hours because we've been talking, and it feels like, a new year has begun.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. It feels fresh. It feels beautiful.
Good.
I don't know. I just feel like I don't become someone better by going on social media.
I don't either.
at all. I've never ever gone on social media and scrolled and come out of it better.
I agree.
Most of the time come out of it feeling way worse because I go on there when I feel like I need some sort of mental stimulation. I feel like when you need something like that, it means that it's not healthy.
Yeah.
If you want to do something like, oh, I'm bored, you don't feel an emptiness inside of you and you just do it for fun, that's fine. But if you feel like you have like emptiness inside, which I
do.
I often do.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's a problem. It makes me think of another weird analogy. I have so many weird analogies.
No, I love a weird analogy.
Did you finish Succession?
No, I'd never seen it. Sorry to all this.
I can't say the analogy then. But it has to do with the fact that like needing versus not needing. The needing tends to fall into unhealthy mindset territory. And I was talking to this guy recently at like when I got my headshots taken, the guy in the waiting room was talking to me and he was like, yeah, I was acting for a while and then I stopped because I realized I was just like desperate to the point where I was feeling insecure and I'm constantly waiting.
Yes.
And that's so bad for you if you like, not just mentally, but probably physically. And I think it takes a toll on your body. And he told me that and he was like, and now I do something else, but I'm writing as well. And I told him, yeah, it's really hard in any creative industry to have a healthy mindset. You have to work really hard for that.
Before we wrap up, the last thing I was going to say that just came to mind while you were talking about that, greatest part of just technology, not really the internet. We're connected all the time. We're in a group chat with our friends. We're constantly talking to each other.
Yeah.
And that's so great.
I think that's great.
But something I was just thinking about is the best memories I have with you guys, and especially with you alone, have never been over the phone.
Never.
I don't think maybe there's like funny texts in there, but I don't think about those
They don't
things.
come to mind.
No. And we just don't, like, imagine all the memories you make when you see somebody and you talk to somebody. Like you said, you don't reach for your phone for like hours. Yeah. I miss that.
Me too.
We don't do that enough.
No, we don't.
Well, I guess we are right now.
Yeah. And actually, even FaceTime, it's different. Because FaceTime,
So
you're like,
different.
you get distracted by notification. You can literally keep the call going while you're checking. But
Texts also stress me out sometimes.
they stress me. Oh my God, I get social anxiety.
I do too.
And I'm like literally asking my sister, like, can I send it to my friend, to you guys, to like literally anyone? I'll text my sister like, is this like nice enough? And it's like in real life, I would never worry about saying
this. It's so weird. I don't understand. I do the same thing.
Right.
Like, was that mean? Because
Right.
texts are so. I keep using this word. Texts are so convoluted.
I know.
You read something and it comes off bad, and I don't ever want to make someone feel like I'm
Right.
texting you things to ruin your day.
Yeah.
So what a conversation, Leanne.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy April 1st.
Yes.
Thanks for being here again, Leanne. Quite a hindsight this week.
Oh yeah.
Quite a hindsight. What was I going to say? Yeah, you can stream iPad Baby and Hollywood Reviews if you want to review how you feel about the internet. Honestly, there's probably so many of us who think the same thing we do.
Oh, absolutely.
So many. So many.
I'm thinking the majority,
Yeah.
unless you have impeccable self-control.
Exactly. I'm like, imagine what it's like to have a conversation with someone. They're like, you're not on TikTok, and that's not weird.
Yeah.
You know? Right. At least for us.
Yeah.
You can tune into last week's episode, and I'll see you next Wednesday on Harmonies and Hindsights.
Yay! It didn't feel that long.
Dude, how did we talk about
I have no idea.